Hello, everyone. Thanks for waiting. And now we'll be starting with the meeting. In nature, nothing exists alone. Every decision we make, every resource we consume, and every system we design eventually becomes part of something much larger than ourselves. No. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sukhman, joined by Sneha Gurwal, and it's our privilege to serve as the student organizers of SETU 2026. We are also joined by our classmates Takshar and Riddhi and Faz and Divyanshu for this session.
With immense pleasure, we welcome each one of you to the orientation session of SETU 2026, an initiative created around inquiry, collaboration, and real world problem solving.
Yep. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge those whose vision and guidance continue to shape this initiative. We extend our regards to the visionary founder of SETU, Mr. Pankaj Bhalla, our Honorable Principal Ma'am, Ms. Shikha Gautam, and the guiding light behind SETU, Ms. Manjula Arora, and our dedicated ICT mentors, Mr. Manish Sharma.
People whose constant support has made today's session possible. On behalf of Team SETU and the entire Little Scholars fraternity, we also extend a very warm welcome to all the respected educators, participating institutions, and students who have joined us from different schools. Your presence reflects a shared commitment towards meaningful learning and responsible action.
Yep. And a special note of gratitude to our distinguished resource persons. Despite your demanding professional commitments, you have graciously taken the time to mentor and inspire young learners. We sincerely appreciate your willingness to share your expertise and help shape this year's journey of SETU 2026.
Today's session has been designed to introduce the vision of SETU 2026 and provide an overview of each project stream, helping participants understand the themes and how we are going to move forward.
We hope this interaction encourages thoughtful questions, meaningful discussions, and a deeper appreciation of the challenges that our generation has the opportunity and responsibility to address.
Without taking any more of your valuable time, we now hand over the session to Takshil and Riddhi, who will take the program forward.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Snehi and Sukhman, for the warm welcome. It is now our pleasure to take the session forward with a brief introduction to SETU before we begin today's interaction with our resource persons.
SETU stands for Social Enterprise Towards Unified Understanding and Undertaking. Every year, students of Little Scholars join peers from neighboring schools to explore real world challenges linked to the Sustainable Development Goals.
SETU is built on simple idea: think globally, act locally. It encourages students to look beyond textbooks, understand real world challenges, and become active participants in finding solutions.
Over the years, the Little Scholars Social Service Group has carried this vision forward through diverse themes, each encouraging students to become more aware, responsible, and solution oriented citizens.
Today's orientation marks the beginning of this year's SETU journey under the theme Ecological Sustainability and Climate Resilience. Over the coming sessions, you will explore different streams, interact with experts, develop ideas that respond to real environmental challenges.
With that, let's begin with classes 6 to 8, henceforth our group A.
Okay.
We now
Who will be engaging in a common goal, ecosystem and coexistence. This invites students of grade 6 to 8 to observe nature more closely.
we now welcome Dr. Anil Chandra, Assistant Professor of Horticulture at KVK Pantnagar. Sir, we invite you to kindly address the participants.
Thank you. Myself, Dr. Anil Chandra. I am assistant professor working at Krishi Vigyan Kendra Kashipur. My host university is Govind Vallabh Pant University of Agriculture and Technology. Since Dr. Manjula Madam told me to be a part of this session, so I'm here with you. The topic is ecology and sustainable agriculture. As you all aware that due to the climate change, we are facing, our farmers are facing kinds of problem. Even we, who are not doing agriculture also are facing difficulties due to the increased temperature, unpredictable rainfall, unpredictable weather conditions. Earlier, when you are hello, am I audible? Hello,
Yes, sir,
hello.
you are audible. Please continue.
So, it actually, when you were young, since then we have seen a lot of change in the climate. Due to this climate change, we have to shift and make different strategies for climate resilient agriculture also, for which we are developing new varieties of seeds and different crops. Similarly, we are adopting different strategies uh, like mulching, like drip irrigation system, like rainwater harvesting, or like sprinkler irrigation, uh, early planting of crop, late planting of crop. There are different aspects of this climate resilient agriculture. So basically, this is my first class. So I would also be learning what we are going to focus on this subject. I I I had a just brief conversation with Manjula madam. She told me to be present over here. From this, I will also learn how what contribution we can make. It's a large subject, and it will take time for me to discuss. There are lots of participants over here. This is my brief introduction. Anything else? Any of you want to have a query on this? Please, you are welcome. If you don't have any queries, I would like to like the presenter to this let others speak. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
yes,
you're
you're
audible.
audible.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir, for the insightful perspectives. Now we turn to another important question. How can the spaces that we build become part of the solution?
The Energy Conscious Habitat Stream invites students of grade 9 to 12 to explore how science, architecture, and sustainable innovation can come together to create energy efficient, climate responsive spaces.
It is our pleasure to welcome Mr. Amit Chawla, an architect and edge expert whose work focuses on sustainable architecture and green building practices. Sir, we invite you to kindly address the participants.
Thank you. So I have Vasu Kadlail with me. He's also practicing architect and an expert in energy conscious architecture, and he's an advisor to various governments as well. So we would be, we are privileged to be here. I think we've been part of the SETU from the first year, and I missed out a couple of years because of work commitments, but I'm happy to be back and interacting with all the students here. And thank you to Pankaj and Manjula ma'am for having us here. So we will basically this session is to introduce you to the topic. And Vasu, if would you like to project the slide? I think we can start with that.
I'll do that. I'll share the screen.
Sure. Thanks. So what the exercise is SETU Climate Studio, where we're talking about climate resilience and which is a step towards reducing energy dependency. So we all know that whatever we are doing in today's world, currently we are engaged with use of lot of technology, and every thing that is related to technology is related to energy, right? So even the simplest of things in especially in the building industry, the simplest of items that we do, the building block, even the brick, it uses a lot of energy to get produced. So energy dependency is there from the start. And the building industry itself, it contributes to about 34% of the total energy, which is consumed in the globally. So what we are going to do here is, address a few queries or the current status that we have. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how is climate change making our cities hotter? I think we'll all agree that the global warming is happening, and cities are in fact becoming much hotter than there is no concrete development happening. So the areas which are villages or the outlying areas where we have more greenery, they are cooler than the cities. So there's a lot of consumption of energy in terms of passive as well as release of energy that we are doing. And the building consume large amounts of energy. So as I mentioned earlier, the energy demand in as per the 22 study for the construction industry and the buildings, non-residential and residential, the total demand is 34% out of a total 100%, which is a big number. And if you look at the emissions, the energy emissions which are, or the greenhouse gas emissions which are there globally, the building industry contributes about 37%. So it's very important to understand how we can reduce this energy dependency in this particular industry. So we're talking about the habitats. So how do we reduce this dependency? Like we know we have air conditioning everywhere now, especially in, anything above even if I look at all over India, even areas which are cooler earlier, even Uttarakhand, if you see earlier you never used air conditioning. The weather used to be pleasant enough. एक पंखे से काम चल जाता था. But now you are forced to use an air conditioner. So how can we create spaces with less energy? So that is our main area which we are going to target in this SETU session. Next slide, please. So the challenge for the students here today, and including us, is look at the basics. So we observe our spaces around us like scientists. So we need to look at every detail, what is happening, why is it happening, and think like engineers of what can we do to solve a particular problem that we see. And as architects, design it in a way that it's aesthetically pleasing, so it doesn't look like it's just a functional thing. And we will also learn to present like innovators. We all hear this term of startups, and so we Shark Tank bhi dekha hoga aap logon ne. So how do we make a presentation which will generate the excitement in the people who we are presenting to, so that they contribute to our ideas? So that is the main thing that we aim to achieve during this entire exercise. Next slide, please, Vasu. So this is how we have planned to divide the journey towards 2nd October, when the final presentation is going to happen. So today is the orientation session where we're talking about what exactly are we going to do under this particular topic. And the next session, which is on Monday, I think it'll be on heat, climate, and comfort. So understanding of these three elements. And the session after that, we will be looking at passive cooling solutions, which would include design strategies, materials, and design strategy would also include flow of air through the building, so cross ventilation and other such interventions. And then we will talk about building materials and new technology which can be used. And we will guide the students to towards their final presentation, which would include these observations and solutions. So which will be real world solutions. So Vasu, over to you for the next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. It's great to see all of you here. I'm sorry.
I think I'll just put them on.
Yeah. So continuing from where Amit left, so some of the guiding factors that we're going to use in this particular exercise over the next 2 months will be one, look at the scientific reasoning, because the moment you understand the science behind it, you will then kind of we want all of you to understand the factors that affect use of energy in a building in a very intimate, in a very visceral way, so that you understand it fully. And then we will, Amit and I will help you understand the principles at a first principles point of view. So many of us, I'm sure, are looking at various subjects like mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and in certain areas, you get the actual practical application or practical understanding of it. But in many times, you may not get it. So as far as buildings are concerned, we will help you go through that entire aspect of scientific reasoning. We will also give you examples of how this has been done creatively. And so creativity is a very important aspect. We also will help you guys look at it from a very practical, applicable point of view, so that the solutions that we come up with will be something that will help you understand this very well. And the most important thing, after having learned and after having come out with solutions, is also how clearly you can communicate this to the rest of the audience. So both Amit and I will help you in this as well. The assignment, we have a small assignment for all of you who are in this particular aspect, who are looking at the physical, the buildings aspect. We want you to, this is by August 10th, when we are meeting next, that is the coming Monday. We want you to observe your classroom or a room in your home or hostel, whichever way. I am aware that today is Friday. Some of you may not have schools tomorrow. So you may not be able to do this. But if you can just look at your classroom or your room, your own bedroom or the living room, any particular room, either in your home or if you're staying in a hostel, your hostel room, take some photographs if you have an access to a phone camera. Put it together in a small Word document or a PowerPoint document. Look at how the heat is coming through the building. When you stand outside, when you stand inside, look at how the light is flowing in through the windows. Look at how air is coming through in the windows. So understand that, just for you to understand. There is no pressure in terms of having to draw diagrams, or we are not expecting any of that. We just want you to get a sense. And through the photograph, if you can help understand what it is that you felt about it. It can be anything. I felt hot, I felt cold. When I stood near the window, I felt a little cooler. Or it was raining outside and I could feel that the water was in when the windows were open. I think there is a sunshade above my window, and hence at certain times of the day, I don't get sun inside. Think about all those things. Think about how you feel inside. Are you feeling comfortable? Do you need to switch on your fan? Do you need to switch on your air conditioning? If you want to read, do you need to switch on your lights? So think about that room that you are in, and then think of the various aspects that you can do. Are you comfortable just wearing a thin shirt or a blouse or whatever it is? How do you feel about it? Think about it, and then if you think that there is not something is not working for you, maybe there is not enough light in your room, maybe there is not enough air in your room, maybe it just gets too cold at certain times, or it gets too hot, whatever it is, or you're feeling very humid and uncomfortable without a fan or air conditioner. Think about how you think it can be improved. Again, we are not expecting mind-blowing solutions. It might be a simple thing like if I put my fan at 3, it might be it feels comfortable for you, but fan at 1 makes you uncomfortable, or fan at 5 makes you feel very cold. So we just want you to think through these things and present. Again, not more than 1 or 2 PowerPoint slides, or it can be a Word document, it can be a sketch, it can be a photograph, whatever it is. But what we want you to do is to think about how you feel in the room and think about air, light, ventilation. So these are the few things that you can look at. And this will start a journey where you are starting to observe things, discuss it, learn from it, and then go forward. So you might think that this is a very simple, small, silly thing that we are doing, but believe you me, this kind of awareness will help you start looking at buildings in a different way. So do that, and we look forward to seeing you guys at, on Monday. So yes, that brings us to the end of our presentation. Just ask yourself, can you keep your room comfortable without using an air conditioner? And then we will figure out the answer over the coming sessions. Yeah. And the answers will be different for different groups. So it'll be really interesting, and you will all get an opportunity to learn from each other. So with this, I'm stopping my screen share, and do let us know if you have questions now. If you want to post it in the chat box, we'll be happy to answer you. Let us know. And I think Manjula ma'am is there, and Snehi and team are there from Little Scholars, who will help you coordinate with us. And if there are any questions, answers, they're available over the weekend. Do get in touch with us. Thank you very much, and we are really looking forward, Amit and I are looking forward to seeing you on Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Amit sir, and thank you, Vasudevan sir. Before we continue, I would like all of you to get introduced to Mr. Vasudevan Kadalai. He is an architect, green building policy consultant, and director, design at ENL High Perform Private Limited. His work in sustainable architecture and green building policy offers an important perspective on today's theme. Sir, thank you for investing your time here.
Thanks. I've already spoken, so thanks for that introduction. You can move on to the next person.
Thank you, sir. As we continue, we now move from designing sustainable spaces to understanding how resources themselves can be managed more efficiently and responsibly.
The resource management stream encourages students of grade 9 to 12 to explore innovative ideas that optimize the use of resources while promoting sustainability, entrepreneurship, and long-term value creation.
It is our pleasure to welcome Professor Vaibhav Bhamoria, Chairperson of the Experiential Learning Program and the Center for Public Policy at IIM Kashipur. A sustainability and ESG expert, he has made significant contributions to sustainability education and leadership in India. Sir, we invite you to kindly address the participants.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you guys are not sleepy after your school, right? Bad time of the day, but yeah, with the constraints of the school, this is where it is happening. So, guys, I'll just tell you a little bit about sort of where we are coming from and what resource management could mean. And I have a slide on probably how this could make sense for your project. Yeah, can we move to the next slide, please? So I want to give you a story about two economists. One is called Malthus and one is called Solo. Yeah. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is Malthus and Solo ki kahani, Professor ki Jawani. Yeah. Just click once more. You'll see a graph. I know, guys, all students, graphs are the most boring thing. But yeah, Malthus ki kahani. Malthus is a guy who lived in 1798. And whatever we are listening in sustainability today, it is this guy who started out. Not just that, whatever you have listened till date about population, resource, economics, sustainability, scarcity, everything goes down to this one guy, right? So if you want to bury one guy, this is one guy you should go find and bury if you can time travel. So in 1798, Malthus gave a beautiful, this simple sa graph. On one axis is quantity, one axis is time. And all that he had to say is that the production of food or productivity of resources grows in an arithmetic progression, but the population grows in a geometric progression. And what he said was that if this continues, one day the production will not be able to sustain the population, right? Which is still the story when we are saying that we can't save the planet and we are unsustainable, right? So it all started from here. But not only just he did say that, what he also said was that if population continues to grow and you go into the labor market. So on the second, graph, no, just the black one, please. Just go one click behind. Just go on. Yeah. So this one, right? So there's a demand curve and there's a supply curve, right? So all he said was that what would happen if supply increased. So if supply moved from the red curve to the yellow curve. Now, when supply increases and demand remains the same, the issue is that wages will fall, quantity of labor being available increasing. So that follows from the fact that population is increasing, you have more people to employ. Unfortunately, he didn't know AI. If he knew that AI was coming, this would be even a more crisis graph, right? Now, interestingly, what he says is that people will feel impoverished because the wages will go down as there are more and more people in this world, right? And this is where the whole pessimism about saving the planet, the need for sustainability started. Next click, please. Yeah. Then in 1956, many years after that, there was this guy. Don't. One slide behind this, please. Yeah. Yes. So, sort of one slide behind on that white graph, please. So there was this guy called Solo who received a Nobel Prize. Now, unfortunately, Malthus lived in the times when there was no Nobel Prize, so he didn't get one. Solo has got a Nobel Prize, but Solo gave this very simple thing. Looking at Industrial Revolution, he says, what if the productivity starts to increase slowly? So you do one innovation, it moves from the, sort of the red line moves to the red dotted line in between. You do one more thing, and what happens is the red line moves to the next line, right? So we are making incremental improvements by doing innovation, which is why you hear so much about innovation, right? But what it does is that point of catastrophe gets delayed, right? Not only that, if you understand that as the curve changes its nature, one day the productivity will be there and the other curve will always be below it, which means that the planet will have enough to sustain the population, right? This is the sustainability that we are all running after. Not just this, based on Malthus, people at that time didn't have technology to produce more food, but they thought they could control population. And massive population control programs were launched in the world, right? And so, guys, what I'm trying to say here is takeaways for you is the topic is resource management, but we are actually talking of productivity and population, right? The demand side and the supply side of it. And just imagine this thing that to make things sustainable, the entire world for almost 150, 180 years or almost 200 years today, more than 200, 225 years, has been after population control, right? Just imagine. That's the power of theory, guys. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, there's a general sense of sharing economy. And what we discovered is that, it's a simple model. People can rent, this thing. So, it's a very simple thing. Have you ever felt the need to borrow something from your friend instead of going and buying something? Right. So it could be a book, right? So when we go and play cricket in the evening on a ground, do we all go with our entire gear, a bat, a ball, right? Similarly, when we're going to play badminton, does everybody bring their racket? Probably yes. Does everybody bring their own shuttle? Probably no, right? And even if everybody brings their shuttle, you find out that most of the shuttles are sitting idle, right? And so the sharing economy is built on a very simple conceptualization. Sharing leads to better utilization of existing products and services to satisfy the needs of customers. And what is now beautiful is it results in lower product or service demand without reduction in consumption, right? Now, just link this to the earlier theories, and this is where it's beautiful. I don't need to produce more, and people don't need to give up consumption. Now, this is the beautiful thing, right? We are saying you can continue to do everything as you want to do right now, but can we still have enough? Now, how do we do that, right? So, one of the thing is just like taxis, right? The example is very interesting. So, taxis are there. Now, either we all could have our individual cars, a car waiting for us outside every railway station individually, or we have taxis. So, I use a taxi and then I forget about the taxi. You take the same taxi, you forget about it. The taxi driver remembers about each one of us, forgets the earlier ride, goes to the next ride. At the end of the day, they earn something, right? Now, what we are trying to do over here is simply the question is very simple, right? Sharing economy makes us ask a very simple question. Should production keep pace with consumption or consumption keep pace with production, right? So the question is because people are demanding more, should we produce more? Or is the opposite of this that if we produce less, people will have to consume less? Now, what I'm saying here is sharing economy gives you a third option, right? People can continue to demand same or more, but can we satisfy the needs by producing less? Because not everybody needs to purchase. Everybody now needs to share, right? So it's for less consumption, therefore less production leads to better resource conservation and management, right? Which is generally what we believe. Now, resource conservation, the question that I'm asking everybody, and I am willing to listen to some things that people have to say over here, right? Some rejoinders to it. So is resource conservation about stocks or throughputs? What do you think? We're trying to conserve the resource pool of this planet or the flow of resources on this planet? Right? That's one thing that I critically want each one of you to think when you're formulating the project. Yeah? Anybody wants to give some replies to this? Or the format is different? I think so. Okay, fine.
Flow of resources, maybe?
Flow of resources, maybe. Okay. And if it's flow of resources, then we will also have to look at a stock because the definition of sustainability says that we should have enough resources for the next generation to be able to fulfill the same needs.
Yes, sir.
So, can it be pure flow? Can it be pure stock? Or do we have to look at stock and flow together?
So we have to look at stock and flow together.
Okay, excellent. Now, if we have to look stock and flow together, there are other issues with it that we'll come to, but it's a very important fact that we have to look to when you're designing a project. Don't just look at stocks, don't just look at flows. Look at stocks, flows, and how they are related to each other. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, okay, right. So, how does that concern you? So, what I'm trying to say is just think about it again. There's a problem about productivity. There is a fact about population growth, and somebody comes out with saying that, okay, we have to conserve resources and do something, otherwise, there'll be more catastrophes in this world. Now, what I'm saying is, please choose what is going to be your objective for the project, right? It's not just sustainability. Sustainability is an instrumentality to something greater, bigger, what you're looking for, right? So, are you looking for reduction of materials required in this world? So, we need less mining and less of activity, right? So, in each one of these, do you want to reduce stocks of raw material or finished goods or the material that moves through from raw material to the good fill and the landfill, what is it that you're targeting? Try to focus on something. Okay. Are you going to focus on energy saving? Right. So there's a choice, material reduction on energy saving. Within material reduction, there are many choices to be made. Within energy saving, you have to choose between, you're going to look at total amount of energy required, total type of energy required. Are you going to look at green energy only, renewable energy only? What are it that you're going to do, right? Or do you want to converge it all? Similarly, there's money saving, right? What money do you want to save for the buyer, seller, government? Who saves? What quantum is the target? Right? What is the change that you're looking for? So you have to define it, guys. Are you trying to do this because you're looking at less pollution? Because resource management, if it is proper, probably leads to less waste and less pollution, right? Or are you trying to do something in better lifestyle? And there you are will be faced with the question that how do you define a better lifestyle, right? Is it ownership of things? So just because I own more things, more different type of things, I have a better lifestyle? Or is it about the services and activities that I can do? Right? So maybe somebody doesn't own a car but can do bungee jumping, whereas somebody owns two cars and cannot do bungee jumping. Now, what is a better lifestyle, right? Somewhere you'll have to make that choice and you'll have to talk about it. Are you looking for more profits, better society? Well, better society is a very interesting thing to say, but what do you mean by a better society? And I don't even know what we mean by a society first, right? We're living in the age of AI and society itself is getting redefined. So, right? So let's look at that. So some things that you have to think is setting a target very crisply, choosing your focus wisely, right? Next slide, please. Guys, I'll just take, about 5 more minutes and then 4 to 5 minutes at max. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, right. So how can we plan this? So I'm going to be making my presentations and talking to you over these weeks that comes on these four things only, right? So first, what I'll talk a little bit about today is effects on multiple stakeholders and who gains what, right? And I'm trying to say a very simple thing there, add the nation first, the nation as a stakeholder. Does it change your project? Look at that, right? If adding the nation changes your product, but it is still possible, you have a very interesting proposition there, guys. And we'll talk more about it, right? So, what I'm saying is that if I can put the nation in as a stakeholder, and if the nation benefits out of something which benefits different stakeholders, probably it is going to be easier for you to clear the administrative hurdles and get the support of government, right? That's what I'm talking about here. The second part, which I'll do in the next week or on 10th, is about theoretical shifts, practice shifts, and how change management comes from resource conservation, right? So this is something right now, resource conservation is okay. It's about consuming less resources, conserving resources, but, it goes very deep, just like probably what Malthus and Solo said. I'm also going to talk in the week after that, on first order, second order, and third order changes. So we are not just talking about changes and their direct results. We are talking of changes which lead to other changes, which lead to further changes. And it's a chain reaction, right? So how deep or widespread is the change that you are going to cause? Because if you are causing some change, we better know how to manage it, right? That's where it comes from. The final thing is integrating it into bringing together into resource management, right? Where it's changes in resource management. Because once we know these ramifications, it's easier for choose what we will do, what we will not do. And so stepwise is usually a good place to understand, right? So it is going to be about understand, create, build, execute, and launch, right? Yeah, that's it. Can we quickly move to the next slide? I'll quickly close this. Right. So we are talking of multiple stakeholders. So what do you mean by a stakeholder, right? There's a general sense that you guys understand, you guys in class 9 to 12th, you understand what a stakeholder. But let's look at someone who directly controls or influences the idea or venture. Let's look at someone who experiences unanticipated consequences, whether good or whether bad, right? Someone who has voice and someone who may not have voice. So what happens is we're doing some activities, many people talk about it, many people don't talk about it. Both have some experiences about it. And If some of them can influence, but they don't have voice, their behavior is going to be very different. And their impact is also going to be very different vis-a-vis compared to somebody who has voice and who can indirectly influence, right? That similarly, there is someone who may be invisible and may indirectly influence not just our venture, other stakeholders, value chain players, policy makers, social norms, public opinions, individual experiences, right? We're talking of stuff which we won't think, but they have a bearing on the success of our venture, right? If we can plan our project to that level, whatever amount we can do, we are probably the chances of success are going to be much better. Last slide for today, right? Move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So you have to take a look at different stakeholders may have different interests and objectives. So not necessarily that all stakeholders will converge. So I decide a resource management project. Everybody says, wow, this is going to be great. No, somebody are probably going to say, just come here and I'm beat you up, right? So you have to realize different stakeholders will have different interests, different objectives, which means that stakeholders will look at the same thing from different perspectives. And there is an importance of this variety of perspectives, because if I want to convince different stakeholders for the success of my project, I need to bring this variety of perspectives into my conceptualization itself, right? Because that is probably going to be my biggest risk. So stakeholders will experience the same phenomena differently, right? Now, this is interesting because different stakeholders or the same stakeholders at different points of time will experience the same phenomena differently, which means that as your project gets executed, the reaction of different stakeholders might change, right? So I have understood a stakeholder once, doesn't mean the stakeholder's behavior will remain constant. Stakeholders will unleash a chain reaction. So the last type of stakeholder that I said, who was influencing other factors indirectly related to my project, they unleash a chain reaction. Now, because it is being unleashed by a stakeholder, I may not be able to directly control it, right? Now, which means that the questions for you to ask is, can you ignore some stakeholders? You have to decide yes or no. Can you prioritize among stakeholders? Probably helps you choose the better form, right? Can you find the common ground between stakeholders? Helps your project to become more simple. Can you integrate and synergize across stakeholders, right? The big question that I'm asking you guys is, are you looking at stakeholders as a problem, or are you looking as helpers to find the solution? That's enough for today for me. You can close the slides, and if somebody has any questions at this moment, I'll take them. Otherwise, over back to the organizers.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Before the questions, actually, we have one remark. Since initially you mentioned about resources stepping up and ecological deficit, it reminded me of one research that Snehi and I did on ecological deficit. So basically, our ecological deficit is increasing, not only because, of course, the demands are increasing, but also because our biocapacity is gradually shrinking.
And eventually on 24th July 2025, I guess, the World Overshoot Day, we have named it. We have already reached the humanity has already reached the capacity the planet can regenerate. And that is something more shocking for every one of us. Yeah.
That was it. Any more questions, anyone?
Okay, guys. So one last remark from me, no questions. Try to be Solo's children. If we can find the innovations to do, we probably can beat the curve. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your perspectives. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable perspectives on sustainability and responsible resource management.
We now have the pleasure of welcoming Mr. Dheeraj Sir, co-founder of Puka, Grameen architect and fellow at the Center of Embodied Knowledge. His work focuses on creating sustainable community-centered spaces through thoughtful design and innovation. Sir, we invite you to kindly take the session forward.
Hello, hi. Namaste to all the esteemed experts out there. And it's a pleasure to hear all of you. Taking notes from all those presentation already. Because yeah, learning would not stop at any point, I guess. And I thank the organizers of the event for keeping going with this every year without fail, and getting so many young minds on board and coming with solutions. As adults, I think we also look forward to the young minds on innovation, because they're fresh minds, with no inhibitions. So cheers to that. Uh, well, I I'm at a site. I hope I don't have any background noise coming into this meeting. Yeah, thank you. Uh, so so what I would like to just share today, and move forward to hearing to those exciting ideas and projects is something that we practice, and something we practice daily, and something we try to practice both on the professional and personal front. Uh, you know, uh, and by the way, the name of the firm that we run, construction firm, it's Pakka Local. It's basically trying to mean that we're trying to build from the local resources, and still keeping it pakka, like how you say it in architectural terms, in the local slang, that you want those things to stay and sustain and be be useful the way they're designed to be. So coming back to this thing that I was talking, permaculture is a term that I would just introduce and leave today to all the students here. Permaculture, and if someone can present this one picture, yeah, thank you. So, as I was saying, something, permaculture is something that we've been practicing, both in professional and personal front, and this is something that is these are some principles that are applicable to anything and everything we do today. It could be a modern solution. It could be also dealing with AI in general, or anything modern, anything to revive with the from the something from the past, anything to do, uh, they innovatively blend in the past solutions into the present. So as you can all see, it primarily focuses on a core thing which talks about earth care, a fair share, and people care. I mean, if I run through all of these, I think these have already been covered in the previous presentations, but this is just a more graphical part of it, I guess. Uh, so, as you all can all understand, healthcare is primary here, and that's why I think we are here today, collaborating and thinking together. And like it's been addressed by, sorry, give me a second. Yeah, yeah. So I was saying, as it's been addressed by Vaibhav already, and about how can it be a fair share, like can all the stakeholders in a process, in a project, or in a system can be satisfied with the existing resources, is a great question. That's when you say fair share, like not to just divide the cake into the equal slices, but also to think, to the smallest of the uh, stakeholder in the system, and see to that they are being fairly compensated for the effort being put, or to be part of the system. And people care, obviously comes in when when healthcare and fair share would come in together, right? I mean, this is about the stakeholders part, I guess, just taking the cue from biology. When the either of the other two are satisfied, I think the major stakeholders today are, say, the people, the organisms which are like on the top of the food chain today, people would be satisfied. But then going back to this, you would also see that Earth is also taken care there. And when you say fair care, the other rest of the organisms, or the ecology, the things in the system are also taken care. And I think I will ask the organizers to share this image with the participants. And I would not want to go through each of these elements or principles that you see around. And uh, yeah, I would really encourage them to go through all of this and then see how much of this could be satisfied, and not to take everything at one go. It's a process. You can't just arrive at a great solution on day one and be satisfied with it. It's a work in progress, and you guys are seeing a lot of things practically all around you. So, that's where it starts, observe and interact, right? So, I guess you could learn a lot and from the already existing solutions, already existing projects, or already existing. What I mean by existing is the experience part majorly. What someone has already experienced, like, let's not reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, there's already a lot out there, and I guess, I mean, we are also here, I guess, to kind of help you out to shed in some light on things that have been already done the way, and help you plan more efficiently or take a cue and move forward as quickly as you can. Yeah, so that would be my time, and I yeah, thank you for bringing me back here. It's a great experience I had last year too. Yeah. Hello. Uh, that would be it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights on the topic.
Before moving on to the next stream, we would like to continue with Group A, which was for grade students of grade 6 to 8 of topic ecosystem and coexistence. Since due to some inconvenience, Aparna ma'am wasn't able to join the meeting. Now that she's here, let's hear from her.
Miss Aparna Rajgopal, a lawyer by education, a self-taught farmer, and the founder of Bijong Farms.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry for making you wait. I'm really sorry. So I'm very excited to be here because we have this little project called Bijom. And for us, Bijom is a playground, it's a lab, it's a learning center, it's a school, it's a college, it's a university. It's a space where across all age groups we keep learning. And so I'm excited to be here to share this story because this is a story about sustainability, integration, how all aspects of life or living beings of the planet can have to come together for something to regenerate and be sustainable. Uh, so this is called the Bijom Gram Sanctuary. It's an animal sanctuary. It's a cattle library and it's a natural farm doing integrated, sustainable, regenerative agriculture. All these sound like very big words, but the work is actually from the heart. So, sorry, can I go back? Yeah. And this is in Bulandshahr in Uttar Pradesh. And what do you call our tagline is growing soil, changing minds. So this is what I want to bring to this beautiful venture that you have. And as a small introduction, I'm just going to keep sharing some slides. But of course, I'm sure we are going to keep having these opportunities where I can elaborate on all this, and actually each slide deserves a speech or a talk. Next slide, please. Thank you, Manjula ma'am. So we use natural farming techniques, and our agricultural practice are animal centric, which means that we use the animals are partners in our venture. They are not dependents. We are not a shelter. We are a place where all the residents of the farm contribute to the farm economy, and the farm survives because of all our contribution to it. So the manure of the animals are used in the fields. The planting is done using heirloom seeds. We promote millets, traditional foods. We use a lot of sustainable alternate energy like solar power, biogas. We have a green building which has rainwater harvesting techniques, and we do vermicomposting, and also there's a lot of interaction between urban and rural people. And so the urban people come to experience and learn about rural India and about agricultural practices, schools, colleges, Aam Janta, everyone comes. And the rural people connect with us for livelihoods to enable us to do this work. Next slide, please. Can I have the next slide? Yeah. So BJOM is essentially compassion, integration, sustainability, and holistic farming. Without these 4 pillars, I don't think we can practice. I don't think we can bring to the table what we are here looking at. We cannot sorry, somebody's mic is on, I think. So we cannot bring to the table the empathy and the kind of what we are hoping we can do for the planet here on. Next slide, please. So the fulcrum of BJOM are the animals. That's where we started because we realized that we have removed animals from our agrarian spaces. They have gone into factory farms, and that's probably where all our problems began. And instead of farms, we have shelters and factory farms. And we have agriculture spaces that are full of chemicals and unsustainable practices. So because we have segregated all these people and spaces, we today have the problem that is staring at us like the elephant in the room. Next, please. Ma'am, next slide. Sorry, so sorry. So yes, we have taken the essence of permaculture, biodynamic farming, natural farming, no-till farming, Fukuoka, Nammalwar, Bhaskar Save. There are so many gurus in this and so many people who have Bill Mollison. There are so many people who have brought so much to this space. And what I found was that every way of farming or every principle we have to apply to the place where we are. So we have taken the best from all the practices. And today that is what governs BJOM. So BJOM has become an amalgamation of the best of the practices that we studied about. But the 3 major fundamental principles remain: earth care, people care, and fair share. Because that's what we are trying to do even at this meeting here today. We are thinking, how can we care for the earth? How can we care for people? How can we all sustainably share these resources, right? So the next slide, please. One of the pillars of BJOM is veganism. Veganism, not because it's a cult or because we want to promote this against all odds, but it is to show that we have to begin with empathy. And we have to stop seeing animals as mere commodities. The minute we stop seeing them as mere commodities and as partners, we will be forced to take this approach. Because at the moment, the way we are looking at animals is that they merely exist for us. And that's probably why all this is started. So I think on our farm, we took this stand to also demonstrate to people that we could be vegan as a choice. And even doing that, we can do amazing stuff on the farm. We have foods on the farm that are the plethora of foods that are vegan. Our whole agriculture is, when I say vegan, it's ahimsic. So we don't use any such aids that would constitute violence or non-ahimsic. So using anything we do, the touchstone is compassion. It has to follow or it has to satisfy that test before we progress. Next, please. Yes. So we have indigenous cattle conservation, we have rescue and rehabilitation, we have freedom, dignity, and compassion, and they live a lifetime there with us. So that's why it's an animal sanctuary. And that is the fulcrum. Next slide, please. We have a huge cattle library, one of the finest in the country. And why do we have this cattle library? Just like seeds or any other wild animals, our indigenous animals, whether they are goats, whether they are any other cattle, all of them are going extinct. And a part of all this exercise is to also conserve our biodiversity. And biodiversity includes these animals. We have horses that are indigenous horses. We have goats that are indigenous goats. And then we have this cattle that are indigenous. cattle. These are all breeds of cattle. There are draught and dwarf cattle that just don't get their place because our focus is on milk. So all those cattle that are going extinct, we are slowly preserving them on the farm. Next slide, please. Next slide, Manjula. Yes. So we have many stories which I will keep sharing with you all. Stories that are the reason why we have the principles at Bijom. So the coming sessions, these will be the focus of my thing about how did we come up with what we did. And so these stories are very important because these are what brought us to where we are. And so a lot of storytelling is going to happen in the coming sessions. Next slide. Similarly, another story. Next slide, please. We have Purnima, we have Jiva, we have that milch cow that came in we have the horses, how they came in. Why do we keep horses? What do we do with them? How they can be integrated. Then we have the agriculture. Agriculture at Bijom is huge. We grow about 200 crops in about 30 acres, and we seed save. We use principles like intercropping, multi-cropping, companion planting, crop rotation. Using all these practices, we are growing food. We also are focusing on regenerating soil. We have a food forest, which I will be talking about just in the coming slide. So therefore, we also have a template of open fields and food forest. And we are also saying if you want to do compassionate farming, then you need to grow the ingredients that constitute that. So we grow oats for oat milk, soya bean for soya milk, millets, seasonal vegetables, pulses and legumes, fruits and food forest. So until we complete the story, we can't call ourselves sustainable. So we grow the ingredients for a plant-based future so that agriculture thrives beautifully using or integrating animals the right way. Next. And then we talk about not just how to grow, but how this will reach your plate, the business of it, the way farmers can benefit from this kind of agriculture so that regenerative agriculture becomes the chosen way of farming. And for that, how does it reach the customer? What is the supply chain like? What kind of communities do we have to put together? How does this food have to be nourishing so that the plant-based food systems are actually working and demonstrate that this kind of system is more healthy, both for the soil, for the planet, for the human, and for the animal. Next slide, please. Every plate of food is a reflection of the field. So that's why for us, the food we serve is really important. And we call it the taste of compassion because this is empathy for the planet, empathy for the animals and people. And this plate of food is the most nourishing and real food that you can get. And in this world where we are all eating contaminated, adulterated foods, this food is priceless. It has no price on it. So that's where we want to reach. We want to reach a space where much better food, healthy food, grown the right way, sold the right way, reaches people at the right price. So I think the goal is that, and the whole conversation is about how to get there. Next, please. Next slide, please. These are all our projects. So I will be visiting each of them when I talk. We have rural projects where we have Shiksha, Pustakalay, Strijan, Bunkar, which is a weaving studio. We have a pottery. We have a health clinic. We have a Sag and Sattu Kranti with the village people for nutrition. We have Dung Ho, and we have a millet project. Then we have community projects like we have a mandi on the farm, school visits, workshops, community food gardens we look after, afforestation. Then we have policy work, which is ideation of a farm school, a curriculum for rural areas. And we are proposing an animal law center, modules and books that could document the learning on the farm. So the thing is not about just creating projects and doing them. It is also showing how it can impact a larger circle. This is not just about Bijom. Our constant effort is to see how we can snowball this and how it can reach larger communities. So all these kind of small projects that we are germinating on the farm, we are trying to see where we can share these projects. Sometimes it's a temple that is inviting us to start a dung ho project, or sometimes it is someone asking us to do their farm. It could impact a single person or a community, but the idea is to keep impacting and keeping on sharing our learnings. Next slide, please. This is, we are inaugurating this on the 16th of August. It's a traditional weaving loom unit where we have handloom. We are celebrating handloom. Today is Handloom Day, National Handloom Day. So happy National Handloom Day to everybody. And this place is churning out handloom. And we even got some lovely carpets made from jute that we have grown. So we would love to share with you the process of how we grew patua, which is a sag when it's tender, and how it became jute fiber, and how that fiber became a carpet. So it's not just food, but we are also talking about livelihood, craft, and empowerment. Women's empowerment, where there are so many aspects to what we do. One of the most important facets is livelihood in rural areas, because livelihood is not something easy. They don't have it easy there. The women don't have jobs. They're not very educated. So, but they have a lot of skill. So how do we translate this into projects that are sustainable, or that are something that we could scale up and carry on? So Bunkar is one of those projects. Next one, please. Can I have the next slide? Can I have the next slide? Manjula ma'am, can I have the next slide?
Yes, ma'am. We have changed to the next slide, if that's fine.
No, sorry, it's not moved here, so probably.
Maybe there are some network issues, ma'am. If we could continue right now.
Yeah. So we have many projects like this on the farm. We have a project called we have Pottanama, which is a clay studio where we make clay pots and other things, many other things. And all these are going into a shop, a farm's shop and an online shop, so that these can be reflected in. It's a circular economy on the farm. The next slide, please. We have a project called Dung Ho, because we don't sell milk. Our 200 odd cattle that produce dung, we make a lot of dung products as well. This is very well received in the villages where there is a lot of dung, and we make logs, pots and stuff like that. Then we don't have to cut trees. We don't use plastic. This is an environment, related project. And if we do this well, can we go to the next slide? I'll just show them the. Yes. So we make these bricks, dhoop, pots, diya, logs. And if we gave more importance to dung, it's produced 24/7, then we can not only save cattle that otherwise will go for slaughter just because they don't produce milk. We also, as part of the Dung Ho project, we have a bull training academy where we train bulls to do plowing and other kinds of work on the farm, so that we are less diesel dependent. So this Dung Ho is for us a very big environment project on the farm, because we make vermicompost, we make potting mix, we make all these products. Can we go to the next slide? And so we consume less plastic, we cut fewer trees, we don't use diesel. So we are trying to see, just using resources that are available in the farm, how we can become more environmentally sustainable. Next slide. We also do ecotourism. I think the objective of Bijom is also to find ways in which we can bring the local farmer more economy, more money, so that he stays in agriculture. The biggest problem that we are facing in agriculture today is migration. And that is partly why everything is becoming mechanized, because there is very less labor in the villages. And that is why it is becoming environmentally unsustainable more and more with every passing year. So the idea is to bring back economy back into the villages, so that people stay and the skills remain, and we don't lose skills, we don't lose economy, and growing food to value addition to supply chain, everything becomes so much better. Next slide, please. This is our Gram Sanctuary. It is a home for rescued animals where animals live freely, and we encourage visitors. You know, a lot of people from the cities come because they don't even know how things grow, or they've not seen animals except in a book. There are many people who don't see these farm animals for what they are. So when they come to the farm, they get a very nice experience of how to, actually, it's like a living classroom. And that is why there's so much education that happens to whoever comes to the farm. Next slide, please. This is our food forest. This is a 7-acre food forest. It was just a sugarcane field in 2019, like it is on your left. And not 6, this is an older slide. After about 8 years of ecological regeneration, we started the food forest in 2017. Today, it is a very vibrant food forest, now full of fruit trees and vegetables and herbs, and full of, what do you call, gills and, regenerated soil and a lot of wildlife, and it's really beautiful. So I would like to bring these concepts here to probably to share ways of regenerating soil, building food forests, creating value addition of produce. There are so many, issues that we could discuss. Next, please. So this is what I want to do here, and this is my little introduction. I'm sorry it took a little longer than I anticipated, but we are looking at a different future where animals are not exploited, where food is grown with compassion, farming regenerates the earth, and where people connect with nature. And if anybody has any questions, I'm open to questions. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, Mansi Sharma from Shidisme School, Bajpur, and I have a doubt.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, how can bunker support and empower local artisans?
So the story of Hunkar itself is very interesting. So I got a WhatsApp message once saying that many looms are being given away by a handloom unit because they can't run it anymore, and it's not sustainable. So I also realized these looms are Sal looms from around 100 years old, and they have woven khadi for the Azad Hind Fauj. So I called them, and I had no plans at all, but I just wanted to save some looms. And so I bought 5 looms and a warp and weft machine and charka from them. Like you, I also didn't know exactly what I'm going to do. But then just about 2 months ago, or rather 4 months ago, I called them again and I said, can you ask somebody to help us set this up again? We built a shed, we put the looms in. And then when I looked for weavers, much to my delight, I found that all around me in every village there are weavers, but they are at the moment unemployed and doing labor work instead of weaving. The thing about handloom is because power looms have come in, handlooms have gone virtually extinct. They are very few now. And compared to what they were there in every village at some point. And now they are there only in pockets. And I found that all these farming families, weaving families, are all now doing labor work because they are also landless, many of them. So I was so surprised. And when I called them and I said, why don't you join us? And now we have 5 master weavers. You should see the lovely handloom they are producing every week. So I realized these are basically agriculture communities with different skills. The potter, the weaver, the carpenter, the the ladies who do craft, they are all part of agriculture communities. Giving them this opportunity means their livelihood is respected. They get better, the economy of the home grows. Then migration doesn't happen. Also, these great crafts are kept alive. And unless we do this, we will lose our local skills, our crafts, our artisans, who are all part of the agrarian community.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for helping us better understand the importance of biodiversity and sustainable coexistence.
Thank you.
Resource management. Resource management teaches us how to use what we have wisely. Equally important is understanding how effective public policy can ensure that essential resources remain accessible, equitable, and sustainable for all.
The public policy stream invites students to examine challenges related to clean water and sanitation through the lens of governance, sustainability, and public policy, while encouraging practical solutions for the future.
This brings us to the third topic, public policy.
We have the pleasure of welcoming Professor Saurabh Popli, Associate Professor at the School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. His work explores the relation between landscapes, human ecology, urban development, and the ways in which people and places shape one another.
Due to some urgent piece of work, Saurabh sir couldn't join us today, but he will be mentoring the topic along with Miss Nidhi Prabha Tiwari. It is a pleasure to welcome Miss Nidhi Prabha Tiwari, co-founder of Atulya Performance, facilitators, and public policy leaders whose work has contributed to major national initiatives, including the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana. She has worked extensively in governance, leadership, and public systems. Ma'am, we invite you to kindly address the participants.
Thank you so much, the SETU team. I'm really happy to be here. This is my first time in SETU. So really happy to be part of this team of Zen Alpha and Zen Z. And it's really, I'm really excited about this group of people applying themselves to public policy related to issues which are very, very important, as you all are aware. So the other experts, as they've shared with you, and you've looked at resources, you've looked at coexistence, and now look at also public policy that might be influencing many of the behaviors or absence of desirable behaviors that we want from various stakeholders. So it is there are two things in the topic here. One is public policy, the other is water and sanitation. The first lens that I want the people who are going to take up this stream, the first lens I want is see what are the issues related to water and sanitation that are around you. So make the connection. What are the problems? Is scarcity a problem, or is water logging a problem? Is public health a problem? How do you see the connection? First, see what are you observing around yourself as something that's a problem with water and sanitation. So that's the first set of observation I would like you guys and girls to make. Second is see the connection between the policies are generally written up and are available through internet. I'm sure you would know how to figure out what are the applicable policies which are impacting water availability, quality, access, right? Pick out some of those policies, look at their implementation plans, and make a judgment about whether those policies are leading to the outcomes that we all intend from them. I will make this statement, a general statement about how public policy happens in India in particular. We write great policies, and often our policies are about good intentions. And we don't pay enough attention to how they are going to be really operationalized. We don't look at the challenges. We don't give the implementation aspect as much attention as the kind of attention we give to figuring out or writing a great policy that pretty much covers everything that could possibly be needs to be governed or controlled. Now, what's on paper is not enough unless it's also on the ground. So the younger group that's here, that's going to apply themselves to this question, my request to you is focus also on the implementation plan. The third thing that I would expect you to come up with once you identify some gaps or some problems that you would want resolved through public policy instrument, then I would want you to come up with some actionable ideas as to how this policy could lead to results that you want, that all of us want in our areas. Some of our other speakers have already talked about stakeholders. So no public policy equally impacts everyone. So different kind of stakeholders are impacted differently. Understand that connection. See that, and if there is a particular segment or a stakeholder that you want to focus on, you're most welcome to do it. I don't want it to become a generic project where you're looking at multiple policies and coming up with generic recommendations on how they can be better implemented or how they can lead to better solutions. The narrower your focus and the deeper you go in that particular policy or that particular aspect of policy, better clarity you're going to get into what gets in the way of our policies leading to the outcomes that we want. I once had a member of parliament tell me this thing, that when there are things on which everybody agrees, nothing happens on that. Nobody champions those issues. We all come together and agree. Nobody disagrees that everyone must have access to good quality water. You're not going to find any politician or any public policy expert say, no, it's not required. But is it happening? What can we do to make it happen? So my intention in this interaction that we will have over the next few weeks would be for you to get to look at the implementation challenges and come up with ideas which will make a tangible difference to the outcomes that we are getting from these policies. And as the organizers said, I will be, Professor Saurabh will also be there. He will also be bringing his unique lens of his intention is in particular that you're able to connect your real life experiences around water and sanitation and see the connection with various challenges. Could be public health, could be ecology, could be even livelihoods, could be gender. So make those connections and then take it till a public policy. What is a public policy? It is there to influence our behaviors in a particular desirable way. But is it really able to do that or not? So some of the starting points for you could be look at farmers and water, look at industrialists and water, look at a small village and the citizens of that small village and water, look at a bigger society, a builder society and water. Water is everywhere. Look at rivers, look at nalas, look at how discharge is happening. Water is everywhere. And you can see, if you open your eyes around, I'm sure many of you have been with SETU for several years. You may have seen your seniors in school being part of SETU. Your school has been part of SETU initiative. So I think that lens is already there. The next step you need to take is make the connection between public policy and its implementation. So I will stop here. If there are any questions at this stage, I'm happy to answer them. And I'm looking forward to our next session where we can give you specific guidelines on how to take this forward. Do keep in mind the request that I've made. Look around yourself, make the connection between the problems related to water and sanitation and public policies which are connected to those problems. Could be groundwater related policies, could be recharge related policies, could be wastewater treatment related policies, could be drinking water access related policies. Okay. Look at that connection, look at the implementation plan, and then come back with this much preparation for our next session. And then we'll take it from there. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for an engaging and thought-provoking session. Now the floor is open for questions.
If anyone has any queries or any doubts, please feel free to answer your questions here. If due to some inconvenience you're not able to use your microphone, please text your queries in the chat box.
Just saw Professor Saurabh also enter in. So in case he wants to add something, he's most welcome. Saurabh?
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
We have.
Go ahead.
Would you like to say something, Professor Saurabh?
No, I want to thank everyone, and I'm very excited to be part of this again this year. This year's edition is very interesting, and we're looking forward to meeting the teams and taking this further.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Sir, is there anything you would like to add upon?
There is a question in the chat. There is a question in the chat. Let's take that question. What if every household had a water purifier? Would large water treatment plants still be necessary? Why? Very good question.
It's a good question.
Wants to take it up? Yeah, you want to take it up, Saurabh?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say that that water purifiers do cost money, right? And they cost money to run as well. So when we look at the household budgets of of poor people, we realize that that maybe they will find it difficult to have water purifiers. Maybe it's not as easy as we think it is. For many families in India, 6,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees additional expense is really money going out of the children's education or some other important thing that that the family needs. And what it also does, that's one part. The other thing that having when we make the responsibility of purifying water an individual household responsibility, is that water becomes more unsafe for everyone. You may have one at home, but supposing you want to drink water outside, at the railway station, or you're walking on the street and you need to drink water, where who's going to provide it there? So ultimately, when in modern civilization, modern societies are based on this premise that there's certain things that everybody needs, and that's what is the job of the government to that's why people get together and they create our own. We have our own government, and the reason why we have our own government is because we use it. The government does what our needs are. It fulfills. So we don't only drink water at home, and nor is it only possible to drink. Also, there are people who are from other, who don't have a permanent home, who are also in our city. They may be traveling for work. They may be coming in the morning, working through the day, and then going back to the other city, wherever they have come from. So, in all of these ways, it's the safer bet is that if everybody's water is clean, and treatable, and safe to drink, then the burden on individuals is much less, and the risk in society in general at a large scale is also much less. This is what I have to say. So there's another question. Would you like to take it, Nidhi?
Yes, I would just add to this. Just before this, we had a conversation about resources also, right? Some things are done more efficiently at a collective level. Maybe not a very large collective level, but if the water purification is done at a larger level and not just in each home, the resource utilization would be a little more sustainable and there would be higher efficiencies, including even higher quality. Because at home, sometimes we are pretty inconsistent in terms of maintaining our water purifiers. And maybe we don't replace what needs to. There are parts that need to be replaced. Even our own water tanks, how many of us get that cleaned and how regularly? So sometimes behavior related to safety is very difficult to enforce at a household level. There are 2, 3 more questions or comments, I would say, about slums. Are there policies related to providing water to slums? So I invite these groups to look at these questions. I think these questions concern you. They maybe bother you or they interest you. Look at that. So on paper, we definitely have the policy that nobody should be denied access to water. But is it really happening in and around you? This is for you to, see if there is a gap and what can you come up with as a solution for that. So again, there's one more comment. Are there any new low-cost technologies for water sanitization in India? Yes, technology could be a solution. When we look at public policy, we look at technology plus some of the human institutional related solutions also. So there are problems that can be solved by technology, but there are aspects of problems which may not be able to be solved purely only by technology. So again, I would invite you to look at those linkages. How much can be solved by technology and where else do we need institutional behavior to change or human behavior to be regulated? Okay, then another, will too much purified water not lead to a weak digestive system? Yes. Very interesting comment. We keep hearing this, that if you're not exposed to all the bacteria that are available in water otherwise, you may not remain, your body may not remain immune to them. I'm happy that so many of you are thinking about public policy and water. So I'm getting excited that some of you would be applying yourself to this question.
So are we.
Over
Thank
to
you,
you,
ma'am.
sir.
Thank you, ma'am and sir, for making us understand the concept of public policy better. If anyone has more questions, please feel free to share them in the WhatsApp group. We'll make sure that you get your solutions there. With this, we come to the end of today's SETU 2026 orientation session. We extend our sincere gratitude to all our esteemed resource persons for sharing their time, knowledge, and experiences with us.
We hope today's discussion have inspired our participants to approach this year's theme with curiosity, responsibility, and a spirit of innovation. We look forward to your enthusiastic participation in the journey ahead.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. We wish you all the very best for your SETU 2026 journey. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good evening. See you soon.
Good evening.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.